So, a very interesting post has popped up onto my Instagram feed, and it's got me thinking for the past about 24 hours. I saw it yesterday, and it was simply how would Colby Covington do at lightweight? How far could he go? Could he reach the title? Would he be an unranked fighter? How would he go at lightweight? And obviously, this has come in the wake of after his defeat to Usman and almost as a build up for Dustin versus Charles Oliveira, where he says that Dustin's a bully. We both weigh around 182 pounds, but he cuts down to lightweight to bully other opponents. Slight tangent. That would have been a really good dig if, I don't know if it's statistically correct, but at least it seems like fighters vary between lightweight and welterweight the most other than any other division I see. So a lot of people do it, so it's not that bad on Dustin if he does something that everyone else does, so yeah, whatever. But for the purpose of this thought experiment of how well Colby would do at lightweight, let's just assume that his cardio and strength and all his other abilities hold up and he performs just as well as he does at welterweight at lightweight. Because potentially it might not happen like that if he were to cut down, but for the purpose of this thought experiment, let's just assume that. And when you look at the current lightweight division picture, in my eyes there's four top guys that, at least right now, you'd have to consider against Colby as to how well he would do. You've got Islam Makhachev, you've got Justin Gaethje, and of course the two fighting for the title this weekend. Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira. Straight away, I think Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev would both lose to Colby. I think simply Colby's output and his pace that he's that he puts on his opponents, I think it would just overwhelm both of those guys. Obviously, Islam is one of the most unhittable fighters ever, but instead of dodging someone who's throwing everything into this one shot or even these 2 or 3 shots, you've got someone that will throw 15 strikes, all just in the aim of touching you, just getting close to you and then getting to grind out grind out a victory, that kind of thing. So I feel like that would be the trouble for Islam. And again, for Charles Oliveira, although he's a tremendous fighter, he's the champion for a reason, I just think Colby's better. I think Charles Oliveira's only real avenue to beat Colby, I think, would be to submit him, and it's really hard to get submissions off when you're getting dominated and you're dominated on the ground and you're stuck and you've just got someone controlling your every move and pounding you out a few times as well. Ground and pounding you out a few times as well. So kind of, I think straight away, that would mean he's one of the top 3. Against Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, however, I think those fights would be a lot closer, but I still think he would beat Dustin Poirier. Again, I love Dustin, and I don't really like Colby, but I just feel like obviously Colby holds the ground advantage, the wrestling and grappling. He's levels above Dustin. The stand-up is where Dustin would be able to shine the most, but you've seen against other fighters, Colby is just going to suffocate you. And although I would expect Dustin to have some success on the feet, I don't think it'd be impactful enough. He'd be impactful enough, and I don't think he'd have the footwork to keep it standing for long enough for that success to keep on adding up. So I think Colby would beat Dustin as well. But I think, at least already right now, I think the best lightweight in the world is Justin Gaethje. And I feel like even if Colby came down to lightweight, I would still view it that way. Similarly to Dustin Poirier, obviously the grappling and ground advantage easily goes to Colby. I mean, although Gaethje has a wrestling background, you saw against a certain Khabib Nurmagomedov, and although I'm not saying Colby is on the same level as Khabib just yet, you could see Gaethje had absolutely zero answer for the groundwork of Khabib. But you saw in that fight against Khabib that Gaethje had a lot of success on the feet. Some chopping leg kicks landed, some brilliant hooks and straight rights. Everything landed and landed hard. And although you've seen from Colby that he can get hit and he can get back on, he can fight, he has that heart, that grit and determination to keep on going, his chin is just not as good as Khabib's. Khabib's never looked wobbled in the slightest. You can look back on Colby's past 3 fights, he's been dropped 4 times and finished once. Against Usman with the Woodley fight sandwiched in between. So I feel like, in comparison to Dustin, I think Gaethje has the better footwork to allow the fight to stay on the feet for as long as possible. And I think even if there was only like 30 seconds on the feet each round, I think Gaethje would be able to punish Colby a lot more on the feet. So I think that's why I would believe that Gaethje would beat Colby at lightweight. So that's kind of my answer to that little thought experiment. Simply that, much like to the welterweight division, Colby Covington would be the second best in the world, even at lightweight, in my opinion, to Justin Gaethje. So yeah, but obviously that could completely go around. If this were to happen, I think it could hype up the Usman fight a lot if he won the lightweight title, and obviously he could. I don't think any of those fights are 100%. There's no chance the other person has a way out. Islam and Charles Oliveira could beat Colby. Dustin Poirier could beat Colby. I also think Colby could beat Justin Gaethje, but just in this little thought experiment, those are my thoughts right now. So yeah, I think Colby would be the second best lightweight in the world.